Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast, coming in your ear holes, and we're talking about two phones today. Talking about a buck we call Kevin Gates. The reason we named this deer Kevin Gates is a long story, but it's because of the property owner. That's all we can say. The property owner might partake in something
they definitely have two phones.
Yeah, they might partake in something that might be illegal in some states and not illegal in other states. That's all we can say. So we named them all people that have gotten in trouble for for possession of a certain product. But anyways, yeah, let's get into the people that make this possible, and we're talking about the buck I killed October 28th. People are like, what the heck are they talking about? We're talking about the buck I killed October 28th.
Oh yeah,
Kevin Gates.
Just another October buck here.
Yeah. Getting the people that make this possible, we're going to get in the show. Going to start out with Exodus. Just want to give a shout out to Exodus. Trail cams were huge in the killing of this deer. Without the trail cams, we probably would not have been back in that property after that first card pull. So if you guys are looking for one extra cam, because that's kind of what we needed here, we got a kind of a second property kind of late in the year, real late, like in October, and we're like, hey, we need something in there right now to kind of make it happen, see what's in there, and boom, you got an extra cam, you throw it in there, and you kill a buck.
Yep.
That's all it took. So.
And huge shout out to the Exodus team for laying the smackdown on their studs.
Yeah.
Cameron has been on fire this year, and
Jake's
got his done.
Chad killed a mega giant. Dude.
So season's not done yet.
No,
so
yeah. Chad's Kansas buck is everything you dream about, dude. It's solid. All right, let's get into Right On Optics. Guys, if you guys haven't checked out Right On Optics, this company is veteran-owned, and he's a police officer. There's a guy going in late. We're still driving to Missouri. He's going in hella late. Anyways, this company, right in the middle of the ad read, super professional. This company is veteran-owned and is a retired police officer. That's why they're so strict on having a American company that does it the right way, with the warranty, with the customer service, with a product that you're going to be proud of. And I'm proud to mention them on this podcast. Super awesome that they gave us this chance to do this. So if you guys are looking for an optic that you can support a veteran company made in the United States, retired police officer, check out Right On Optics. Super awesome scopes and binos for all your needs. You got Last Breath.
Yeah, guys. Just as these last few episodes, this hunt is on the Last Breath YouTube channel, and I think this has got to be the best cover art for an episode. Cody out there in the Okayest Hunter shirt, long arming a Urban Hammer 8-pointer. Huge shout out to Grant for getting these episodes up and edited out quickly. The guy is an absolute genius, getting these videos put together as quickly as he does, because I literally put everything on a SD card, hand it to him. He's like, all right, what do we got? I was like, we got 6 trail cam videos, and we got setup stuff, we got the kill, we got the recovery stuff. I said it should all just flow, and I don't know how he does it so damn quick, but he's the wizard behind the brand that's doing it. So as we play out this hunt through this podcast, you guys can go watch it on their YouTube channel.
That is right. And we got Next Level, guys. If you're looking to get some food out for late season, now's the time to be buying it up. They got their late season winter mix that these bucks are going to be needing after the rut. And if you're in a state that can bait and feed, if you can mix this with whatever you're using to give them a little bit of extra protein, or you can use this strictly as you're attracted to fill those feeders and get those deer in late season, because they're going to be coming to this stuff because it's high protein, and that's what they're looking for to get that weight back on before it gets super cold. So you can check them out at Next Level for all your deer supplement needs. All right, guys, I'm going to do a special shout out here. I know it's been gun season for a while, but our buddy Logan Sellers has started something up called Gun Guys. We're part of it too. If you guys, we got a 100% Gun Hunter t-shirt. If you've seen some of our posts, we're wearing the 100% gun. What is with the people going in late in Missouri here, bro?
Maybe he's got a buck down.
It's super late though. That's the second person.
Oh, maybe he's got a buck down. He's back of the truck getting the cart.
Yeah, that's probably
What you got,
it is.
bud?
What do you got, bud?
Let's see.
What do you got down?
I think.
I think he was peeing on the side of the road.
that guy's way off in the ditch.
Yeah. But yeah, you check out the gun, guys. You get the t-shirts. We got maybe some beanies coming. At least I got a beanie. But,
I did too. Yeah.
I'm gonna be wearing it down here. But we got 100% gun hunter t-shirts, and that's what we're gonna be doing down here in Missouri, slinging some lead. 270 is gonna be ripping. 11 inches low at 350 yards. Just if you're wondering.
Just at 300.
350.
350. All right.
11 inches low.
All right, we're in the game.
You're in the game. Back of the shoulder. Those does out there, dead as hell.
Dead.
Any deer that you see pretty much is dead. I love it.
I was just gonna say, with the bow, not even in the game.
Not even in the game. Not even close.
100% gun hunter shirt looks fantastic behind some bow kills.
Yeah, it does.
Every
bow kill we've had is
really lets that antler color come out.
Yeah, it does.
Gets a contrast orange.
All right, well, let's get into Kevin Gates.
What the hell's the speed limit here? 70? All right, yeah, okay.
It's Missouri.
Right.
This dude, we get to go 70, 76.
Yeah.
Brian, shout out Brian. He says, what do you say? 8 you're fine, 9 you're mine. 78 it is. Here we go.
Oh, this dude in Hy-Vee's getting with the game.
Hy-Vee ripping out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kevin Gates killed this deer off of almost 9 acre, like 8 and some change acre farm. I don't know, it's not even farm. Piece of ground. No ag on it. There's real close to houses, super close. Probably 150 yards from a couple at one point. Went into this piece. So it's after I killed my buck. It's like maybe like the 12th or the 15th or something. I'm at the gas station. And I see the kid's son, or
landowner's son,
yeah, that I used to hunt this piece, and I'm talking to him, and I asked him about, hey, is anybody, they call it the 10 acres. I said, has anybody been down on the 10? He's like, no, Dad's been in the nursing home. He had some health issues, so no one's been down there. And, you know, not knocking the guy for anything, but you got that guy who buys land, and he wants to open it up and make it look like a park, pretty much, you know, take care of his land. He's got a Kubota tractor. He's down there mowing. He's cutting his trees, doing this. He's making trails. And I don't know what it was in the past, if, like, maybe everything was so overgrown before people started, you know, managing stuff, that actually helped the deer. Like, and that's the knowledge that they have. But now there's nothing worse for a property to go in there, open it up, and make it look like a park.
Mm-hmm.
You would drive every deer out of that piece. And that's what had happened to this piece. He had hunted it every day in October almost, open it up, always doing work, planting little micro food plots, opening this up, doing this, and just pushing bucks off. And I had hunted it in the past, and there was literally no deer on it, absolutely zero deer. And he's like, yeah, no one's been down there on it, so if you're more than welcome to go down there. So I stopped, talked to the mom, and she goes, yep, no one else down there besides you guys. You guys are good to go down there. And I was like, okay, well, worth a shot.
Scoop that right up.
Yeah, so the first hunt, I was super windy that day. Well, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do a little scouting, see what I got going on. Check my doe bedding area, make sure there's still does bedded in there. And I got this sweet-ass apple tree in there. Giant apple tree.
Thing is
Like,
a monster.
It's
like a full-grown oak.
Yeah, I was telling Garrett about it, and he's like, they normally don't get that big. I'm like,
no.
It's like a 5-gallon bucket at the base. Like, thing's giant, you know? And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go in. So I scouted the north, went in there. I was going to hang on this apple tree. It was an off year, no apples. I'm like, okay, bunch of doe beds in there, a little bit of buck sign. Nothing to really get me excited, little sapling rubs and stuff, and no scrapes. But doe beds, see bedding. You know, I know the does are still bedding in here. Okay, I see the bedding. They're still bedded in the same spot. Good. That's secure. I know that.
And it's, just like you said, it's the middle of October, early October.
Yeah.
So we're kind of thinking, you know, more rut hunting there than you know, late October, but just because of the past intel that you've had on this place and the fact that the lack of sign already this far into October.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm going to go in, scout, have my stand on my back, bow, ready to hunt, and this stuff is thick. Like, I'm crawling through a lot of it, and you're going in there, and I'm ready to hang at any moment. And the thing about this property is it's so small, and it kind of sets up as really narrow and long. You know, a narrow, long 8 acres. But when you think about 8 acres, it's really small once you get in it and start walking. Like, you could be halfway through it and not even realize you're halfway through. Like, oh,
Yeah.
crap, I'm almost the other end. And the south end is more, I guess it's the north end. It's the north end. It seems like the south end, though. The north end is more open, you know, off the gravel road. It's kind of open in there.
And I would assume that just because that's the part closest to the house.
Yeah, that's where he did all the cleaning and
Right.
stuff. And that takes up a lot of the ground because it's so open. I mean, that's like 3-4 acres right there, you know. And I didn't have the wind to go on that side, or I probably would have hunted that ridge where we had the cam in the first place. But anyways, I went in there and I realized the does were there. Didn't see a lot of signs, so I was like, well, I'm going to circle back and I'm going to go where he had logged this cherry tree out like 3 or 4 years ago. And this guy had bought some cherry trees from him, and he had went in there with the machine and got them out, and he had made a kind of a path in there, and they had cut a bunch of trees out and left a walnut tree, of course, because they didn't want to take a money tree, but they took a bunch of trees out and kind of made an opening in this. What is those bushes called? I don't know what they are, but they're like 10 foot tall, super thick green, and it goes. You'd have to crawl underneath them to go anywhere, but there's no undergrowth other than them. Mm-hmm. It's just that kind of, you know, and little cherry trees and stuff. So I went in there, and as I was going in, I passed a kind of a scrape that had just started, not anything, like literally right off the road, like 10 yards. We got a cam there now. And then I went in and put there's another old scrape and another old scrape on this trail going in, and then there's I hunted this opening. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna hunt this opening. I know the does are bedded over there, and I'll hang this cam, and if this cam shows any promise, then we'll come back in it. And I said, well, if I hang it here, I know I can get in here and pull it pretty easy. And so I went in there, hunted, didn't see anything that night, got down, hung the cam. I let it set like 5 days, 6 days?
Yeah, 5 days, because there was 4 shooters.
Yeah. Went back in there, and there'd been 4 shooters on that cam on this 8 acre piece, one in broad daylight, one at like noon. Kevin Gates is in there at noon hitting this mock scrape I made. So I made this mock scrape, and we had started this theory, or I started this theory with mock scrapes. So I believe to get a good mock scrape, if you want a mock scrape that bucks are going to hit in daylight potentially, it needs to be in security cover, and it needs to be giant. They need to walk by it and they need to be like, holy shit, like a lot of deer have been working this thing. Like, I made it like 3x4, you know, like a big, like if you've seen that in the woods, you'd be like, shit, this thing is huge.
Right.
You know, and I wanted to make it as big so they cannot walk past it.
It almost looks like 2 fused into 1 is what it looks like.
Yeah, like I wanted to make it as big as possible, and that's how we've been doing all of our mock scrapes all year. Like, and the one at the lease, make it huge, boom, bucks on it that night. Like,
yep. And guys, this is what we're doing in in years past, July.
Yeah.
You know, from the day we hang the camera, we're making a scrape.
Yeah.
And they're hitting it.
Yeah, and they're hitting it. You know, a lot of them won't work the ground at that time, but I feel like, I don't know if it's that fresh dirt or what it is, but I mean, does are on this, button bucks are on this, and 4 shooters. We got a triple main beam buck. We got Kevin Gase in there. We got another 8-pointer. We got a 10-pointer with split brows, tall as hell. Thing is just on fire. And I have no idea. We have no idea why this thing is on fire. There's nothing in the book of this makes whitetail sense.
Whitetail deer doing whitetail shit is what we always say.
Yeah, why they're there. It's just something like the camera that we pull, we're going to talk about later with the Giants on, that we found out late, you know, on public.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, makes no sense why that deer's there. But anyways, it makes absolutely 0 sense why there's this many shooters in this area. So we get some north winds or south winds where we got to go hunt the other side. So we throw a hunt up there. We see a doe and 2 fawns come out.
And let's see. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
But this is the start of Cody's pre-rutcation. I took this week off. Yeah, I took that week off And Cody's joining me on Wednesday night.
Yeah, Wednesday night.
And of course, we just literally scooped up the property. And I don't know what the rotation was we were on, but the right thing to do is let you have first hunt on this piece together. That just makes sense. So that's how we got the rotation going this time.
So we go to a ridge where I had a stand like 5 years ago. OG bow hooks in there. Scooped both of them.
Dude.
We got both of them.
Not worried about saving weight on them things.
No. Yeah. Giant, thick, bow hooks. And, but anyways, we go up there. We hang trees bigger than it was, of course, so it's kind of harder to hang. And we hung a cam that night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, hung a cam on that ridge, made a scrape.
Made two.
Yeah, and then kind of was up there and we're like, hey, we need to make some shooting here and here and here. But we end up hunting that night, had a doe and two fawns come out right out of the bedding where I thought they were supposed to come. Perfect. I was like, all right, good. Just solidify that is doe bedding 100%. They come out of it.
That guy's going to smash right there tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. He's ready. But anyways, so then you're up the next morning. We go in there. We pull that cam. Nothing on that cam overnight. And you pulled that cam most recently. And there's
it kind of activity we picked up there from the 5th through the 9th.
Did it?
Yeah, it was solid. I think 2 shooters in daylight and 2 different ones. One borderline, 1 shooter in the day at night.
Nice. So
that was the other pics I sent you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you had hunted that morning. Did we see it? We didn't see anything that morning.
We did not see anything.
No, we didn't see anything that morning. And so it was 2 days on that, and then midday it was switching south. And we were like, well, in my mind, I'm like, all right, we know these shooters are here. We already put 3 hunts on this place. It's still early. We're getting to the edge of like going to be pre-rut. And I'm thinking maybe we go somewhere else. And homie's like, no, stop being stupid. We're going to hunt where the bucks are. So
yeah, he's talking about something way out of left field. I'm like, bro, just stay the course here.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, man, we're pressuring these deer a bunch and doing this. And it's kind of like a bullshit spot we got. So I should have just kept pounding it. And then once we killed out there and we pulled the cam again and they were all there again, then we just pounded the shit out of it,
Yeah.
But we go back in there and we get in there and we park at the gate. It's locked, and we walk down the road, and we got like 150-yard walk, and we know exactly where we're going. We kind of set up different in the tree because I had been in that tree before and realized that.
Well, we had went in there and pulled the cam.
Oh yeah. We went in there, and I was like, dude, I know it's gonna be a lot, but we got these pruners and this tiny ass snall, and I was like, we got to be as quiet as we can. It's raining. I'm like, we got to be as quiet as we can, but we got to trim all this shit.
For 30 yards.
Because if a buck comes out, it's going to come out right on this damn trail, and we're not going to be able to get a shot. So we go in there, and we cut all this shit, like a ton of shit. But it's all like small, like
autumn olive
half-inch autumn olive crap,
Crab apple shit.
Yeah, cuts easy. We get a lane to that. We pull the cam. We go back to my house. The cam's on fire. Like, even better. Kevin Gates been there at noon. The 10-pointer been there. Another 8-pointer had been there. I'm like, God, okay, we got to get back in there. Yeah, we got to go. So we go in there. We hang. We set up. And we're not in the stand 25 minutes, probably 30 minutes. We'd hung different because we wanted, with the way the trees are, there's just no cover. So I wanted to be kind of in the and we're gonna hang in a different tree now, back off the opening a little bit. And I think what we need to do is we need to do that shit where we run a rope tree to tree and cut a bunch of that green brush and hang up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing I can think we could do.
We need somebody with a fake Christmas tree that's getting rid of it this year to give it to us.
But I think if we cut a bunch of that shit, it would hold leaves, and then we could just have that limb there and just put a whole bunch of shit up there early season, and then that would be fine, But anyways, so we hung up where I'm facing away from the trail that we just cut for the bucks. But I'm
Yes.
like, I'll be able to shoot in between this crotch of the tree if there's a deer there. But I'm thinking he's going to walk down this lane right to this scrape, and he's going to be at like 8 yards, 6 yards, like right underneath of us.
So the scrape is literally right underneath of us.
Yeah.
It's just across a four-wheeler path. It's about as wide as
Yeah.
the road that Cody's been talking about is. And then the scrape's right on the corner. The camera's on the tree that we're hanging in.
Yeah.
And the opening, the other side of the opening is 25 yards max.
Yeah.
Is as far as you can shoot.
As far as you can shoot. Like
And then where this deer come out at is 30 yards, right on the nose. And that's all you're shooting. That's you can't shoot any farther than that in
No.
this spot. So with our camera and our lens setup, we decided to just handhold and go with the small lens because everything's going to be so damn close.
Yeah, everything's going to be 30 and in. Like 30 is the max. That's the max.
And if Cody did have to shoot through the trees, it would go by my head and the camera arm would be in the way.
Yeah.
So, and there's no other setup because that's the 10% chance of happening, and the 90% chance of happening is out in the open coming to the scrape. So that's the way we need the camera set up.
Yeah.
And if you have it set up for the other way, it's not going to get on film. So we just figured handhold with a small lens and everything will be fine.
Yeah. And, we got 2 guys in this tree. We're both trying to be, secluded because we're trying to film content, and that's the only way we can make it happen. So we're in there. It missed a little bit. We're in there talking, and homies, big buck. It's like my literally favorite thing that when someone says that.
I say, while we're hanging.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Forgot that. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So we're just get to the bottom of this tree, taking our stands off our backs, and Cody's like, do you smell that? And I took a big old whiff. So we're at the bottom of the tree, and Cody's like, hey, do you smell that? And so I take a big deep breath in, and I'm like, yeah, it smells like a buck. And we got a couple sticks up, and I'm on the ground now, and I get it again, and I'm like, damn, like something's either been right here on this scrape, but now we had a mobile there, so we knew nothing was on the scrape. But I was like, man, something like that scrape has been worked. And it was just crazy that we smelled this buck. We were that close to him.
Yeah, we smelled him bedded while we were hanging the stand, and we're there, and I was like, man, that is like
just makes you wonder if he like stood up, stretched, and changed positions and got back down.
Pungently strong,
man.
You know what I mean? Like
just like you were standing right over him, literally.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, and the wind was blowing right from the bedding where this deer was gonna come out of. We thought, so we were like, oh yeah, and we had got up, we're all set up. And he'd come out the exact trail that we just cut the shooting lane for. And homie goes, big buck. And I turn around and I see it's the 8-pointer with the swooping beams. And you can hear in the audio, I'm almost drawing, and he starts walking away. And I had ranged that spot. I knew it was 30 yards, and he's standing perfectly broadside. But he didn't hesitate at all. He just took straight left, and he was walking away, and I'm like digging for the grunter, thinking, man, I'm gonna have to grunt this thing back. And he just takes a right into the thick stuff, and I'm like, oh, he's coming back. So what he was doing, he was just trying to go upwind, hit that trail, and then J-hook into this scrape on the downwind side of it. And when he was doing that, he's coming back, and there's only one spot that I could shoot this deer, like
only one,
in this wall of green, and that deer walked right through that opening. And I asked homie, I said, are you on him? And he said, yeah. And I drew back and had it scented in between a couple trees, and I was about 2 inches from killing a tree, like that close. And he was quartering to, so I tuck it as tight as I could to the shoulder. I should have maybe went back an inch more, and I hit that shoulder and ricocheted into him. And I ended up getting one lung in the back of the other and no exit. His opposite leg was back, and we hit him. He didn't mule kick, so we knew it wasn't low. It was high, but good, good downward angle. And he ducked a little bit, but we were talking about this after we shot. I don't know, like, I'm not a heart shot guy. There's a shoulder, behind the shoulder, center mass. That's why I'm aiming, because that's where I have the least amount of, like, chance to miss.
Right.
And if you look at every deer I kill on film, public land buck, touch high, right behind the shoulder. Whoopsie buck, touch high, right behind the shoulder. They're all ducking a little bit, and I'm going right where I'm aiming, but just a little low from the duck. So I need to go just a touch lower than what I am to play for that duck. Just go, 3/4 down the body, where I still got plenty, if I pull down or something when I, shoot.
Yeah.
But anyways, he takes off running, and we're super jacked up. We know it's that big 8 right away. And we play back the film, and we're like, okay, looks good. I'm like, man, I might have got shoulder. We'll see.
Because we seen the knock get carried off.
Yeah, he
at
carried
least 30 yards.
Yeah, he carried the knock a long ways, and we were like, okay, that's not good. Didn't get a pass through. So we had just got an arrow in, the 3rd buck in October on a hanging hunt. On a bed. Like
on a bed 100.
Like, we're like, damn, dude, we're just going where the bucks are. Like, we're just going where the best odds are to kill a buck. So we're feeling good that this deer's dead, but me being my cautious self, I told homie, I said, let's get down, we'll pull the stands down, we'll be real quiet, then we'll go look for blood. So we go over there, we look for blood. There is nothing. There's pin drops of blood.
There's 8 white hairs.
Yeah.
And no blood at the shot site.
No blood at all. I'm like, okay, here's the hair where I hit him. And it had rained, and the ground was soft, and you could see where he pushed off to take off. I'm like, this is exactly where I shot him. And there's nothing. There's, just a pin drop of blood. And I'm like, well, this ain't good. And I went maybe 10 or 15 yards, and there was like 2 more pin drops. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is terrible. Like, this is one of the worst blood trails I've ever been on.
And, I mean, we knew that he carried it off, maybe got just poking through the other side because we seen him carry the arrow off.
Yeah.
But we were expecting at least something a little bit more promising at that location.
Yeah.
Or, 10 yards down that we went.
Yeah, I figured, that first jump where he hit the ground, there'd be quite a bit of blood, So we got the stands down. We went back to the truck. I was like, let's watch the footage. I had my laptop on the computer. I said, let's watch my footage on my laptop, crack screen and all bullshit like normal. So we watched the footage, and looks exactly where it looks like on the camera, and I look trying to stop at the exact moment that the arrow hits him, and it's hard to do it. You can go frame by frame on the camera, but on the computer you can't, you can't do that. So we watched the footage. We decide definitely a lethal hit. Not quartering too steep enough where I got one lung and hit the paunch or whatever, hit the diaphragm, and so I'm being my normal self. I'm like, well, it's supper time now. Let's go up to Casey's, get a drink, get a pizza, get a pair of pieces. Is what I was gonna say. a couple pieces of pizza, and chill out. So we went up there, watched the footage again, went inside, got some pizza. Talked to a guy for a little bit.
Cody's asking the whole time, is he dead?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you think, man? What do you think? And he's like, yeah, he's dead. I'm like, man, I think, what if I got right in the shoulder? You know what I mean? But I'm like, man, the arrow looked like it buried pretty good.
Yeah, it did bury.
But we went back. Homie, we're at the truck. He's like, taking the cart? I'm like, yeah, we're taking the cart. I'm like, I don't know if that's bad juju or like not bad juju. But
like is it bad juju or is it confident?
Yeah, I'm like, we're taking the cart. So as I'm dragging this deer cart through this residential
through the
community, go in there. We start back where the blood is, and it's super thick, so you can't drag the cart where we're at. So the cart's back,
at the tree.
And we go in there and we start tracking and find pin drop. Oh, and in this time, we have no idea that this pop-up thunderstorm is coming. neither of us looked to see if it was going to rain, and it is pouring rain. It is absolute pouring rain. And I'm like, well, this is perfect. No blood, pouring rain. I'm like, deer's dead in there somewhere.
Dark as shit now.
We just got to go in there and find him. I think we gave him 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, if it's a lethal hit where we think it is, he is 100% dead. And go in there, and I'm walking. We find the arrow, and we got like 10 inches of penetration. I'm like 12 inches penetration. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, a lot less than what we thought.
Yeah, a lot less than what we thought. I'm like, okay,
About half.
I know I got enough. But, I mean, did it hit the shoulder and ricochet back into the guts? Like, what do I got going on here? There's no guts on the arrow, but there's not a lot of blood on the arrow either, you know? And most of the time when they pull the arrow out, there's a lot of blood. And there wasn't any.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this whole entire track job, I was talking to a guy, and I was like, I feel like you could fill, like, a bottle cap with the blood. Like, it wouldn't fill up a bottle cap, you know? And, I'm thinking about the property, how it lays out, and this ravine that we're through gets thicker to the left, so I go to the left, and homie's thinking about just where it'd be open.
Yeah, least resistance is what I'm thinking.
So homie's thinking, no, death run, and I'm thinking this dude's up in here bedded somewhere, so I'm trying to creep through there, trying to get, you know, an eye shot or something, and I'm probably 60 yards to the left, and homie goes up the hill, and he, you know, does the old, oh, he's over here. Dead as hell. I'm like, oh, perfect. But we got up to the deer, and we're jacked, of course. Exact deer we thought. Wasn't a whoopsie buck at all. Knew exactly what he was. Probably a little bigger than we thought he was, which is always nice. And just a super solid. Ended up being a 141-inch 8-pointer, clean 8, and big spoopy main beams, 20-something wide. I can't remember.
20 wide.
20 wide.
22 beams.
Yeah, 22 and 23 beams, yeah. And just a really good 8-pointer. And but he wasn't stiff when we got there.
No, not even close.
So, and he kind of died in like a strategic spot, like on a ridge in a low spot of like a little bowl of the ridge where like, I don't know how that bowl got there, but just a little like 5-foot lower spot, you know. It wasn't like a ravine, it was like a bowl cut out.
Yeah, it's almost like a flat spot, almost like a little quick flat in the ridge.
Yeah, and he had died right there, and he had kind of died where you could tell he wasn't running. He had put his head down, his legs were kind of curled up a little bit, and I was like, damn, this deer, you know, went in here and died. He didn't do a death run and died, so he was probably dead pretty quick after I shot him, but it wasn't an instant dead run. So we never heard him crash.
Nope.
So we did the right thing by waiting. And in my mind, when you wait for a deer, if he's dead now, he's going to be dead tomorrow. Like, if you put a bad shot on something, when I jumped that giant a few years ago, if I would have waited until the next day, I probably would have had that sucker on my wall. So that plays into my head. I do not ever want to see a deer climb up out of a bed of that, let alone that caliber, but just crawl up out of a bed, and you just can do nothing about it but watch him run away, and then know that he's gonna die, and then run onto property that you can't get on. Like, they will not physically let you on there. I mean, you're like, what? Game warden can't help you? You can't do anything. The dude's just a douchebag, mad that you keep killing giant bucks because you're actually hunting. And he's not hunting. He has the best property. All the deer are coming right off of his property. He has no idea. And he's just a douchebag and won't let you go get the deer because, oh, I'll go look for him. I'm like, dude, you ain't gonna look for that deer. He's like, what's he look like? I said, well, he's, you know, giant, drop time. Like, yeah, when you find him, you know. Like, I got assload trail cam pictures of him. Yeah, I'll be able to show you. But anyways,
yeah, I constantly remind myself that you had that happen.
Yeah.
And that's why you are the way you are.
Yeah.
And you made a good point. And that's what I tell everybody too, is like, if he's dead now, he's going to be dead in 6 hours.
Yeah, like,
if he's not dead now, he could be dead in 6 hours.
I was not very worried about coyotes because this deer literally died 100 yards from someone's house.
Were you worried about the cougar?
The landowner said that there was a cougar. She was probably on the stuff that we were talking about at the beginning when she seen said cougar. But anyways, the buck, died right there, and we had to drag him out of the timber like 60 yards to a paved road and put him on the cart and drag him through the residential community to the back of the truck. And
the cart works great on a paved road.
Cart is gangster on a paved road. We ever shoot one there on top, and we got to get to the paved road. That's gonna be sick.
Yeah.
Works solid in the timber, paved road.
Like ice.
Yeah, I drug that thing.
That was one-handed by yourself.
Out by myself. Yeah, best drag out we've had ever. But giant bodied buck, probably a big 4 or 5 year old. Not sure. Like I said, we don't have a lot of history on this. Just a really solid 8-pointer. And best thing about it is, still got a bunch of shooters in there. Still got a mobile on that scrape. Few deer starting to hit the scrape again, so that shows me that they're coming off does and starting to hit the scrape again. So
nice.
But and best thing about it is, don't overlook those bullshit spots that people talk about. Oh, it's 8 acres, it's right at, it's by town, by a house, and I killed a giant, and I'm thinking this place is bullshit. Know that I could probably get permission there, but just don't, because it's a complete waste of time. And then go in there and realize, like, holy shit, this is one of the best pieces that we have.
Yeah. And while you were at the gas station, you seen 2 daylight pictures of bucks last year, daylight in October, looking real solid.
Yeah, so that's the real reason we were in there was, so I had seen this guy, and I got permission, and then one of my wife's friends had put her house up for sale that connected to this piece. And he had like 2 acres or something there of timber, and he had 2 bucks on cam, one in daylight. That was pretty solid. I was
one was like a 150s 10, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was like, man, maybe I'm messing up and I'd seen the page, the pictures of the house, and that was like the first picture that they were advertising for, of course, And I was like, oh shit, like, okay, like, we might be able to get something in that, little go ahead. Oh, and I know the people that bought it, and they don't hunt. I'm like, ooh, maybe we can swoop in on that little 2 acre.
2 acres there.
Little 2 acres on the north.
All right, we got 10 acres.
Yeah, we got 10 acres. But at least if one runs up in there, we get it. But that's where that buck I dropped antlers died in the backyard. So, but anyways, yeah. So Kevin Gates died. Get him out. Really happy with that deer, man. Happy with the hunt. Homie crushed the footage handheld, tight quarters, deers in thick ass cover. It's raining, but like I said, worst blood trail I've ever had. Confident of the shot, quartering 2, but shooter's got to shoot, man. If I would have been like, oh, it's quartering 2, it's thick, and not shot, wouldn't have had that deer. It would have winded us. It was about 10 yards from winding us. If it wouldn't have winded us, it would have J-hooked in there and maybe got a shot, but I didn't want to risk it. I'm like, I got to shoot right now. If you got an opening, you got to take it, just like, we were talking to Ebilhart, Oh, I had a shot, and it was a little further than I really wanted to, so I'd end up not taking it, thinking that deer was going to do something, then it ended up doing the complete opposite. So I was like, I'm not going to make that mistake. I'm going to take the first opportunity that I get and make it happen. And dead deer, and that's the biggest 8-pointer I ever killed. Well, what's the name?
Homeboy?
Homeboy, yeah. Homeboy scores more, but he's got kickers and splits and all kinds of shit going on. Split brows and the big flyer. You get a flyer that adds 7 inches on an 8-pointer. You're like, okay, yeah, it's not really an 8-pointer anymore. But biggest clean 8 that I got, and gonna look sweet on the wall. Wide, big main beams, nice dark chocolate rack again, and got to do more pictures and bucked out October 28th, and ready for next year. Ready for Missouri. Hopefully homie kills his first, rifle buck, a good like 135, 140 class deer, and then I get to get behind the gun. And like I said, this would be my last chance for the year to kill another deer, another buck, Logan, when we go up to Logan's, that's going to have to be a absolute swamp mag daddy to
Yeah.
get me to shoot, but be a fun hunt. But yep, that's Kevin Gates. You got anything to add for it? But like I said, don't overlook the small spots. Hang and hunt, hunting where the bucks are. Homies pulled me off of trying to do some bullshit set, like we were talking about, no bullshit sets. I was thinking about doing some bullshit set just because we were putting the pressure on there. And he's like, bucks are there, bro. You got to go. Like, you can't not be in there, you know. And that's why we work good together. Sometimes I lead him to deer. Sometimes he leads me to deer. It's just part of the game. It's because we're both in the game. We're both hunting together. So homie killed that deer just like I did. He was in the tree. It was within bow range. Same deal, you know.
Right.
He had the intel. We both talk about where we want to go and make a decision together. No one's like, this is where we're fucking going no matter what you say. You know,
exactly.
It's never like that. It's like, okay, this is our odds. What are we doing? Where are we going? You know.
And speaking of, you know, that's where the deer are. I went and hunted there on November 3rd and encountered an absolute giant. If I'd have shot this deer, it'd have been the biggest deer of my life. And it's kind of the same setup, hang and hunt, and got hung up super good. And then had two does come down that road. I heard them walking, and I didn't want to get surprised by a buck being that close. So I kind of peek around the tree, does looking right at me, and then they just kind of worked the backside of that scrape, and they wanted to come out, but then the second one's like, no, we don't want to go out there to this opening. And then they worked more around the opening in the timber or in the brush, and they didn't blow at me, but they blew and just kind of skirted off back to the way they came. And then about 10 minutes before dark, a deer's making commotion right where them does blew at, and it's working from straight in front of me to my left, and all of a sudden I smell that same smell we did when we hung Fort Kevin Gates, of that pungent buck smell, and I'm like, shit, that's a buck. And I got the grunter, gave a couple grunts back behind me like a buck's on that road. I hear this deer start making a scrape, and then he stops. I do 2 more grunts. He finishes making that scrape again, and then by now this time it's like shooting time, a minute before shooting time. I mean, it's dark as hell, and he just finally comes out in the opening. Well, just like Cody said, that tree doesn't have much cover, and he's coming right for the scrape at the bottom of the tree, or, you know, right to the grunt that, you know, was right there. And you know, he is a clean 10 or a 9, but his 2s and 3s were 12 and 13 inches. I mean, just an absolute giant. So that deer's out there, never been on cam, and you know, it's just another hunt of going where the odds are, where the deer are at this time, and having a really good encounter with a buck. I wish he would have now that I didn't shoot him, I wish he would have been able to come over so we could have got him on cam, you know.
Yeah. But
you know, would have been my biggest buck ever. Like, I mean, there's no doubter. The thing had me tore up there. It was absolutely cool encounter, and being 6 days from Cody killing right there. So
yeah, and then we hunted there a couple other times and seen shooters in the bottom.
Yeah.
And seen other bucks work. We got to get on the backside of where the does are bedding and get an idea how they're coming out. It's just a good little spot that we're gonna. I think
meticulous with.
Put a bow stand food plot in there and put a scrape stick out on the other side of that opening, and make your scrape right there to where they're drawn to go to that.
On the other side.
On the other side.
You got a 15-yard quartered away shot.
You got a 15-yard quartered away. Hunt a tree that's tucked back a little bit.
Yep.
So when you find these areas and you know it's good, then you just fine tune them. You know, okay, what can we do? You know, hang some brush, make us cover a little bit better. Try to do something. Probably get a preset stand in there because the does and bucks bed so close.
Yeah.
Cut a lane from the road so we're not bumping anything when we walk on that lane. We're not putting any ground scent down.
I think we need to get a lane back in before that dog can see us. If the property line allows it, we need to hop in and leave a row of trees on the edge of that fence.
Yeah.
When I went in to pull that cam, dog sees me, starts ripping.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have to beat that dog to get in. I know we did twice.
Yeah.
You know, we got in there, but just
that dog was barking like crazy in the interview, though. I think they're so used to it, man.
They probably are. It's just ease of mind while you're sitting there at 4:30. A dog still ripping an hour after you've been in there.
Yeah.
You're like, there ain't gonna be shit out here.
Yeah, guys yelling.
Yeah, guys
yelling at him to come in.
The city's truck working.
City
you know?
trucks working back and forth. You're like 55 yards from that road.
So we're all jacked up. You know, Cody's bucked out October 28th, and we're still that's Cody's actual first day off of work.
Yeah.
And you're bucked out.
Yeah.
And so now we're taking the deer to the locker. Obviously, I'm up to bat to hunt. We took pictures in the morning. And we're like, well, we got this bullshit cam on this spot. Not very hard to check. Let's see what's on it. And we had checked it one time before that, or was that the first check?
Yeah, you had checked it one time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had checked it, and we had hunted there, right? Or not yet? No, we hadn't hunted there yet. So, pulled this card, and we're driving down the road. We just swapped cards. Got the computer in the truck, in the truck. And I'm scrolling through pics.
I'm like, if there's a giant, this is where
Cody's been saying for 3 years that probably a giant right there.
Yeah, probably a giant.
Probably a giant right there. And we get to this picture, and it's just a nasty, non-typical drop tine. Can't tell exactly what he is besides
big as shit.
Big as shit. Heavy, got probably 12 up top and 1 down below.
Yeah.
That's about all we got right now. And then go through a couple more pics. It's about 20 pics later.
Yeah.
Cody about wrecks the truck because he just looks over and glances, and the giant typical that we found last year is back on cam.
It's back on there. I'm like, oh my God, he's not so typical anymore, but
no,
golly,
he's not.
I'm like, huh.
And just like there's moments in time of like us pulling cards and checking cards. Like the time we got Freeze back at the studio.
Yeah.
When we did get the giant typical last year in Velvet. Just key moments like that where your reaction of like we got an absolute unit on cam.
Yeah.
It's just priceless, and I laugh about it all the time.
Yeah.
But of course, here we are. Cody's bucked out.
Oh yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, bucked out 2 magnums on cam now.
2 magnums, 1 200-incher out there.
Yeah.
Just oh yeah, right into the 200 zone.
Yeah,
here.
I'm like, oh yeah, perfect, buck out, 190, 200-incher on camera, classic. And if you knew what this cam was, you'd be like, no fucking way, there's that. No way that. Someone is like printing pictures off and putting it on this, swapping the card or something, because they should not be there.
No, they should
But
not be there.
They're there.
But
And then you pull it again.
And
the drop time buck damn near daylights on Halloween.
20 minutes from daylighting Halloween.
Yeah.
6:22, he's on cam. And the spot he's coming from, stupid.
Like, you're like, where
So
are you at, bro?
I was thinking about asking there in the inner circle, like, does anybody have any spots, or does anybody else do this? Just put cams in bullshit spots. And have you ever had an absolute mind-blowing deer on it?
Because that's how we found, like, that when we got pictures of Pickles, like, bullshit spot.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is a bullshit spot. Like, I feel like bullshit spots. You hear people talk about, oh, it's right by the parking lot, right by the road. I sent my kid over there and he killed a giant.
Every year in Iowa, some 6-year-old.
Yeah, and I'm like, if a deer wanted to cross the road, this is so like Adam's house. I feel like if you hung a cam, be a fucking giant on there. You put a scrape on that thing. I've been saying 78 years that there's a Magnum in that sucker. I go out there and put a hot scrape down, giant on it.
There's gonna be a Ford double dropper out there.
Yeah. Just the double dropper just went a half mile north and just chill. That's where he lives.
Right.
We're out there taking pictures of bucks. He's like, oh, they shot another one.
right. I'm safe
Yeah,
right
I'm safe
here.
right here. I've been safe for 78 years in this little shithole draw. But yeah, it seems like that. I was like, if there's a giant, it's going to be on this cam. It's a junk-ass wild game, takes crap-ass nighttime pictures, and the deer are 3 inches away from the camera when it takes a pic,
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's straight ghost mode.
Yeah, they got the blur going on. You're like, there's going to be a giant on there. And then there was two. I'm like, I remember I looked at the computer and then was like, ah!
Bro,
and I looked away.
You're swerving and shit.
Yeah, and I looked back. I'm like, is that a drop time? Ah! Yeah.
You're like, that's a giant typical. I was like, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I was trying to get off of it so you didn't see it.
Yeah.
And
Like
come
that.
back to it.
I'm like, that's the giant typical. Yeah, that thing is. So what's going to happen next year is we're going to throw a bunch of, well, what's happening right now is we're throwing a bunch of assets on this bullshit spot.
And late see.
If we kill this guy, we won't even be able to describe the spot because everybody would know where it's at, but it's just absolute bullshit. It's
Bullshit.
Complete bullshit. We threw a set on it, didn't see anything.
Yeah.
But then the cam, I mean, it's 20 minutes from daylight, so you're like, okay, it's 20 minutes from daylight, and this cam is on the road. It is on the road. Like, and there is, for the trail he's going down, there is no timber direction he's going for a half mile.
Ever. Yeah. Ever.
Like, he's just there to go to that ag field and run across that giant field to get to that other timber. That's the only thing he's doing. So he'll be hard to kill, but I can see it's wasting a lot of time. But he's there. He's been there like six times on cam.
I'm gonna waste some time.
Yeah, I'm going to waste some time with you.
So yeah, like I said, the drop time buck's been on there 4 times. Absolute giant, and then the giant typical is not been back.
Yeah.
But it's only been like a week.
Yeah.
And it's the rut right now.
Yeah. I mean, if they go in there late season and
So if they-
he's living in that thing.
Dude, I feel like if they go in their late season, we are going to be right in the
yeah,
game.
we'll be right in the game. We know exactly where to go. Slide in there. Straight north. Dundo. But yeah, we need to get a lot. We're going to have about 6 mobiles and about 9 acres, 8 acres, 6 acres.
Yeah, we're
somewhere
gonna
right
know.
around there.
If the Blue Jay takes a shit, I'm going to know.
Yeah. I'm gonna know what's going on. Creek crossing, cam. Field edge, cam. Like anywhere we can get a picture of these deer. But that's game plan. But yeah, that's going back. Don't overlook those small spots where people don't. Every person that hunts this property is walking past this spot almost.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just not there. It's just like the spot across from Boonertown. I'm like, giant over there.
Yeah.
That's another one of those. You put a cam in there.
I'm scared to hang a cam there.
Ooh, money. I just need to get permission over there. And we put a mobile over there. It's going to connect the dots.
Yeah.
So much for us. It would be insane. And
Even if...
he might let me hunt that too. I just need to ask him.
What is there, 2 trees over there?
Yeah, it's like 4 maybe.
Yeah.
A bunch of brush though.
Even though we might even need to put like 2 regs on the road.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we are messing up there.
Yeah, I think we might have made some.
And if that's if we can't get over there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel like it would connect a lot of dots of these deer leaving, and they're just over there chilling right next door, and then they just pop up like, oh, we're here now.
Yeah.
And you're like, where did you go? Well, we went over there to this 5-acre grassy bullshit
just grass.
ditch, and no one bothered us for 8 years. You know?
Yep.
Bud Heavy's is over there living high on the hog.
That'd be another deer I'd like to shoot.
Yeah, no, I'd really like to shoot that deer. West Side, Bud Heavy.
West Side Bud Heavy and this drop time dude.
Giant Typical would be solid.
Giant typical, yeah. Yeah.
We can't really call them typical anymore.
I know, I don't know. Yeah, I was thinking
The closest deer we got to 200.
you see this thing front on, bro, you're gonna shit yourself.
Yeah, you see him front on, you're like, okay.
We got the cam set up for it.
Yeah, we got front on pics of him last year, and we were like, okay. We got side pics of him. We're like, oh yeah, that's good. And then
But you forget the frame.
Then you get the frame. You're like, okay, whoa, we got some serious potential here to be wowing. But
Hopefully,
I'm not going back in that shithole if he's back in there.
No.
He's 220, maybe. That's gonna take a lot for me to get back in that ditch.
Yeah.
The wind it's just a waste of time down there pissing in the wind pretty much because your wind's just swirling.
Just swirling, literally.
Remember the spot that we did interviews in that ditch.
Yeah.
I think that's the only spot you could get up high enough. Remember we went back there and we bumped that doe bedded down there?
Right.
I feel like if you got up on that, on top of that ridge, you're going to shoot about 12 yards.
Yeah, there is a tree over there. That
Yeah.
tree that I picked out over there is
Yeah.
about the only spot.
That's about the only spot. Yeah.
Somehow there needs to be a better trail in there.
Yeah. We got to get the orange markers. We need the orange markers on that trail.
That would be key.
That would be key. But all right, well, that's the story of our 3rd October buck, guys. Been a hell of a year. Just main thing is just don't overlook the small spots. Hunt where the bucks are. Don't get discouraged and think that you're pressuring something. If the bucks are still showing up, you ain't pressuring it that hard.
Yeah,
You
in
know?
daylight, yeah.
Yeah, if they're still there, you're not pressuring that hard, and that's the time of year where you got a hot scrape, you need to be on it. So shout out to homie for getting me back to ground, saying, hey dude, we're not gonna go on some bullshit magic hunt and try to find some deer. Let's just go to where the bucks are and hunt. So, but yeah, we got high outlook for the rest of the season for homie to get one more buck, and then we buck out. And we are on the way to Missouri and hopefully drag out a couple bucks down here.
In the podcast world, we've been driving to Missouri for a month.
Yeah. We just got together. We had this 6-hour drive. We're like, man, we need to get these guys caught up on what we got going on. So this is how we're doing it. And, well, this car is going
Yeah, they just pulled out there.
Oh, I think it's probably because there's a cop right over there. They didn't want to just rip it right in front of this cop. I feel you, bro. But, yep. Like always, try to do the right thing, try to leave a legacy, and we love you guys. We appreciate all the downloads throughout the season of us pre-recording the series. You guys absolutely smashed it. We really hope you guys enjoyed it. We appreciate every one of you guys that listens. All the message we got throughout the season, a shitload of people messaging us, talking about how they got it done, saying that the podcast was valuable for them. That means a ton, man. Really touches our hearts, as they say, when someone says that what we're doing can bring some value to you guys. In the end, just remember, we're just like you guys out there, just trying to get it done, trying to be better than we were last year, and trying to get one more buck down. That's all we're doing. So we're always on that one more buck, and right now, homie's up to bat with a rifle, and then homie's up to bat with a bow, and we're trying to get one more buck. We're just going to keep doing that until we can't do it no more.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, guys, we out.